So episode number 124 of the so-called sports analyst. Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It took a little bit of a break the Monday recap episode. I was out of
Hmm.
town, but I'm excited. The Chiefs finally got a dough. We got into the win column.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I won the pick'ems again. What can I say?
You
Two and
sure
one
did.
right now. 2-1. He came down to the tiebreaker, Texas Tech versus Utah. My boys came through big time. Number 12 in the
Go
country right
ham.
now. Number
Y'all are
12
12?
in the country right now, but also the Lions handled business against Baltimore. So
Hmm.
yeah, I can't wait to pick these games today, talk a little fantasy football, maybe even recap a little bit because I wasn't able to be here or just kind of see an outlook on these teams a little bit more. So yeah, I can't wait to get into it.
Yes, sir. But hey, the vacation, it's much needed. It's like you got PTO without PTO from the podcast here.
Well,
But
2 jobs and 2 podcasts. I need a break. 2 jobs and
yeah,
two
yeah, exactly.
podcasts.
Much deserved. But find us on Twitch, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under TSCSA or the so-called sports analyst. Whether you listen to this live or another day, we appreciate it. And make sure you share this to anybody that likes sports. But like Josh was saying, let's go ahead and get straight into these games right here. The week 4 slate. It's going to be this first one, which is tomorrow or today when you guys are listening to this. Seattle Seahawks versus Arizona Cardinals. Both are 2-1. Seattle is favored by 1.5 after a major blowout versus the Saints. So who you taking?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Seattle Seahawks in this one. I feel like I picked them, I think, 4 straight weeks in a row already. I just feel like they're just one of those teams that's gonna be competitive no matter what. And I feel like when they go
Mhm.
against teams that are maybe on their same level or a little bit lesser than, they're gonna get the job done no matter what. And we saw that last week pretty handily versus the New Orleans Saints. I understand it's the Saints, but still, like as I said, that they're gonna handle teams pretty well when it comes down to it. I the Cardinals for me, I feel like there's gonna be a big emphasis on how much of a role is Trey Benson going to play immediately, and I feel like he's going to be the
Mhm.
bell cow. So I think a lot of the game is relied upon what he can do, but it still seems like they can't get this passing game
Mhm.
going. Like it's just not.
Mhm.
It's not. It's not the Cardinals we expected them to be. I feel like we expected for 2 years in a row for them to be this high powered offense, and it just hasn't panned out yet. As for the Seattle Seahawks, it looks like they're starting to get a lot of guys involved. We see a little Torrey Horton action more and more as the
Mhm.
weeks go on. He's getting close to overtaking Cooper Cup in the snap count right now. So and then JSN, man, he's turning into modern day Cooper Cup a little bit. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Seattle Seahawks, and the defense is Byron Murphy, Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen. You got to step that way when you can sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm sticking with the Seattle Seahawks here too. And I just think that the only main takeaway I'm going to take from this game right here, or there's two separate
So,
things. Two separate
That
things.
boy Hondo's in the chat.
Josh Hoover for Heisman. That's the TCU quarterback, right? Yeah, that's the TCU
You know it's
quarterback right there.
Hondo, bro. You know it's Hondo. You know we're Texas Tech's winning the Big 12 this year, Hondo. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Hon- Honestly, I didn't even think about it. Florida State and Tech, they could play for the first time since like the 90s if they both make the college football playoffs. That'll
Crazy.
be interesting right there. But no, two main questions I have right here. Who's going to be the main bell cow for the Seattle Seahawks running backs? Is it Zach Charbonnet? Is it Ken Walker? Because we saw a split once again, and it was kind of a blowout, so it's hard to kind of gauge. And then the Cardinals offense, like you're saying, with Trey Benson, is he going to take all the workload of James Conner? And is Marv going to have, I know I said in the last pod, is Marv going to have that game this year? Because last year he had several games and he hasn't had one this year throughout 3 games. So I'm looking for that, but I don't know what you think about those for fantasy football wise.
As far as the running back situation, I'm still kind of hesitant. I think I'm playing a lot more flex spots for both Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. I just feel like there's not a clear separator right now. Even though Zach Charbonnet missed time last week, I feel like it's not going to hinder his snap count or his role within
Mhm.
this team. This coaching staff loves him. He's not going
Yeah.
anywhere. If anything, could be going the other way if someone's going anywhere. As far as the Cardinals with Marvin Harrison, the touchdown targets are down as they were last year. Last year, Marvin Harrison, I
Mhm.
believe, was top 3 in touchdown targets.
Yeah.
This year, I don't think he's even close to the top 3 right now. And like we said, it's just not their high-powered offense just hasn't came through. And they're still not finding Marvin Harrison. He's still right around the 5 target per game range, which is definitely needs to go up. It's Marvin
Yeah.
Harrison, and I just think it's a matter of of scheme, or like what's the scheme of this offense, and it just hasn't ran through Marvin Harrison. And I know it's not necessarily, mainly because they have probably the best tight end in football on their
Yeah.
football team, and they run through their running backs with which feature James Conner and Trey Benson. Will now only featuring Trey Benson. We'll see how that goes, but other than that, I just don't see it happening this week either for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's definitely a tough matchup, and especially it being a division rival. I don't see it getting back to normal or just Marv having a good game. But yeah, no, those are two main things that I'm interested in here. But okay, this is as far as like the start situations, we already know. You already mentioned Seattle running
Jason.
backs, Marv. You have to start him. But let me ask you about JSN. Is he a top 3 wide receiver in fantasy football rest of the season?
Well, we kind of set this, I believe, not last podcast. I think we also said that we believe that he's probably a top 5 guy right now, and maybe top 3.
I
And
mean,
then, like,
it's getting up there now
yeah,
like
it's
crazy.
getting too much. Like he's on that Puka level where just the volume's too much, and then plus yards after the catch. But Jake
Yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba's making a lot, creating a lot for himself as well.
Mhm.
Once the touchdowns start following suit, oh my gosh, it's about to be a
Yeah.
pretty big days for JSN from here on out, barring injury. And it's kind of on that level of an Amon Ra and
Yeah.
of a Puka Nakua. You know, just these big target volume guys creating things
Mhm.
after the catch, and this is where they're going to eat quite a bit of the time. And JSN for me, I'm so high on JSN. He's not leaving any of my football teams, and like definitely in dynasty, I have him, and he's not moving. He's not moving at all. So.
I've just to give some context, I've told this to Josh for almost a year now. I've told him I want JSN from this team. It was on somebody else's team, and then to Josh's, and then he's like, no, no. And now I know I had no chance to get him, but it just sucks to see a wide receiver you try to trade for ends up being a top 3 fantasy football wide receiver. But I
Mhm.
this is a little bit off topic, but I think as far as a top 3 wide receivers rest of the season situation, it's Puka, Amon-Ra, and JSN, whichever order you like. I'll take Puka 1 right now because he hasn't gotten no touchdowns yet at all.
And I think
So
definitely for like Torrey Horton, I think is someone to monitor for this
mhm,
Seattle Seahawks football team. I don't think definitely I trust. I know 3 straight games, 3 touchdowns. I understand that, but when you chase touchdowns, sometimes it's going to come back to bite you. So I'm not
mhm,
going to say do that, but definitely someone to monitor. I feel like he's gotten closer and closer to Cooper Cup each game as the games have gone on, and sooner or later he may take over that number 2 role. And so maybe a good
mhm.
stash for Torrey Horton is in the cards for a lot of leagues that he's available in. But honestly, I feel like if he's still available in your league, it's kind of crazy. It's a little bit crazy that
Yeah.
he probably would still be available. And as far as Trey Benson as well, if Trey Benson's still available, you go pick him
You
up
better
right
yeah.
now. Like
Mhm.
there is no possibility that he should be. I mean, if you're in a serious league, he should have been drafted, to be
Yeah.
honest. But yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree 100% with that. But as far as the Loud McConkey thing, we'll get to that as far as when we get to the Chargers. But let's get to this first Sunday morning game here, Josh. I feel like it's pretty early in the season. It's not till later on, but this is in Dublin, and it's going to be the
Mhm.
Vikings versus Steelers, both 2-1. Carson Wentz is still projected to start for this week. Minnesota's favored by 2.5. Over unders 40.5 points. So who's winning?
Honestly, I'm gonna just go with the Minnesota Vikings in this one. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers, they picked it up a little bit since their first game, but I just don't trust that defense still yet. I just feel like they're not the
Yeah.
same defense as they used to be. As far as this offensive side, there's not enough weapons. I feel like you have DK Metcalf, and I'm not the biggest DK Metcalf believer in the first place. As far as the Minnesota
Mhm.
Vikings, what they absolutely obliterated the Cincinnati Bengals last week. And I know the Bengals backup quarterback, worst defense probably in the entire NFL, but to put up 48 points on an NFL football team, or close to 48 points on an NFL football team, is absolutely insane.
Mhm.
And just the way that they did it, I feel like Carson Wentz, he looked a little bit more, he looked comfortable. TJ Hawkinson came back into the fold in this last game. Justin Jefferson got his, and there's always going to be more for Justin Jefferson. He made a couple big plays in this one, in the last one. And then as far as Jordan Mason, we always knew this was going to be Jordan Mason if
Mhm.
Aaron Jones went down. There's a reason why I
Yeah.
have Jordan Mason in every league and Ryan has Jordan Mason in every league. And that's because we believed in him from the like we just knew like he was going to do this, and there was no questions about it once Aaron Jones went down. Like I said, Aaron Jones had an 82% injury probability
He
rate,
said
and it
this, yeah.
happened. And Jordan Mason came through. And Jordan Mason is exactly the reason why he was the most important handcuff in all of fantasy football. And it was for this reason that he was going to be able to do this when Aaron Jones went out. And I think he's going to continue it versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's why I'm going to stick with the Minnesota Vikings in this one. And I think Carson Wentz looked good in that first game.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
do think he can continue to keep the pressure going for the Minnesota Vikings so they continue to be competitive within that tough division.
Yeah, and then going off that last one right there, I'll say this. Since Carson Wentz is starting, I'm very comfortable in picking the Vikings. But if JJ McCarthy, he was starting in this game, I'd be pretty much 50-50 just based on how JJ McCarthy's looked in the first two games. So Carson Wentz, he's not going to do anything dumb. He's going to just let his skill guys, and also Jordan Addison's coming back this week too. So I'm not saying that Jordan Addison's going to pop off, but I'm saying that's going to help out more Justin Jefferson. He's going to see more one-on-one coverage, and
Yeah.
against
I,
the best wide receiver, I think he's gonna have his first 100-yard game of the season, because Carson Wentz, he's not afraid to sling the rock either. So as as far as fantasy football starts, obviously Justin Jefferson, we just talked about Jordan Mason. Now let me ask you about three separate guys here: Jalen Warren, DK Metcalf, and Jordan Addison.
I think Jalen Warren in a flex situation, you can start him, but this Minnesota Vikings defense is very good against the run. They're one of the better defenses in the entire NFL. As far as the DK Metcalf situation, I mean, everyone knows my stance on DK Metcalf. I mean, you get a floor, 10 points, 12 points, he could pop off for a touchdown, maybe.
Mhm.
If you want a flex consideration for DK Metcalf every week, of course.
Yeah.
For me personally, I know people view him as a wide
If you
receiver too.
drafted him, you have to get him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you drafted him, you have to play him.
Mhm.
And who was the other player you asked about?
Jordan Addison. First
Jordan
week back.
Addison. First week back, I'd say flex. I'd consider him for a
Okay.
flex. He's not to a wide receiver 2 standard yet until we see what he looks like within this offense. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously he has a role. It's just gonna be, or what's the ease in gonna be like for Jordan
Yeah.
Addison
Mhm.
come his first week back. And I just feel like maybe just put the brakes on it just for week 1, and then next week he'll be a full go for a wide receiver 2 position.
Yeah, it's just very interesting because usually when a wide receiver is coming back, it's an injury, but this is a suspension. So
Mhm.
I feel like you could either see him, like you're saying, be eased into the offense, or it's all hands on deck and Justin Jefferson still gets double covered. But yeah,
Mhm.
no. All right, let's get to these 12 o'clock games right here: Washington Commanders versus Atlanta Falcons. Jaden Daniels' status, he should be playing in this game, but if not, obviously they have Marcus Mariota. And Washington's favored by 1.5, 44.5 is the over under. And this is in Atlanta, by the way. So who you taking?
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Falcons in this game. I think the
Ooh.
Atlanta Falcons are gonna win this football game. I think maybe Jaden Daniels is coming back for this one, or is
It's
what's the
it's
status on
50.
that one?
It said
See, for
50,
me,
like 50-50. Let me double check for you
mm, dude, this is an
before.
ugly game. I feel like I don't want to pick this
Jaden
game.
Daniels feels
Actually,
good, but status is up to the doctors. So that's all it says right there.
you know what? I'm switching my pick. I'm gonna go with the Washington Commanders. I just feel like I'm gonna trust that Jaden Daniels plays in this one. I think the
Yeah.
Falcons defense is very good. I still don't trust the quarterback situation in Atlanta, especially after last week. It was pretty bad. Um,
Brutal.
Bijan Robinson could explode for a good day, but the Washington Commanders are low key a pretty stingy run defense. We've seen that the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Washington Commanders in this one. I just wanted to be different at first, but then I realized they suck at quarterback. At the quarterback position is unsure of right now. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Washington Commanders on this one. Even with Marcus Mariota, if he does play, I feel like I trust everyone around him enough to get the job done. Especially Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's dealing with an injury, but I think we saw the committee in the backfield with Chris
Hmm.
Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols. They were able to get a
Yeah.
lot of juice going from all three of them. So yeah, I'm still going to continue to stick with the Washington Commanders because of that.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Commanders, and I'm gonna keep naming this stat until it's finally broken. Michael Penix is 0-4 when an opponent scores more than 7+ points in a game. And I'm very confident that the Commanders are going to score more than 7 points in this game with Mariota or Jaden Daniels. So I think this is going to be a tough game, like between like a 17-20 ball game, something like that. But I don't feel like it's going to actually be close. And you already talked about the running back committee. Obviously, you start Debo, Terry McLaurin based on how they're playing. But as far as I feel like we've had this same conversation the past 3 years we've been doing this pod. Now it's not Bijan Robinson we have to worry about. It's just a receiving position. Obviously, you have to start them. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, that bunch right there. Are they finally going to get on track this week versus a weaker secondary in the Commanders?
I mean, I feel like for Drake London's case, you have to start him. Week 1, he had 15 targets in week 1.
Yeah.
I feel like you
Hmm.
got to chase that. Week 2 dealt with an injury. Week 3 probably still recovering from that injury. So I'm not
Hmm.
taking too much into account, and then I don't think you absolutely expect to be obliterated by the Carolina Panthers in week 3.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was just a fluke situation as far as Drake London's situation. So I continue to start him. Actually, I feel like it might be a buy low situation for Drake London at
Yeah.
this moment in
Hmm.
time. And I just feel like he's a good football player. Quarterback situation, maybe Michael Penix is having a rough couple of weeks. I mean, the stat you said does remain true. I mean, we are big believers in stats,
Yep.
especially we come up with new ones every single year.
Yep.
But is Kirk Cousins, is he going to play a role? I don't know. I'm still going to continue to trust Drake London. As far as Kyle Pitts, I mean, week 1 he had us going. Week 2 he kept us in the loop. Week 3,
He fell off.
yeah. So Darnell Mooney, I feel like usually I'm all for starting Darnell Mooney in a flex situation, but right now I don't know. I'm not too sure. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
stick with Drake London as the only start from those three.
Yeah, I agree. But all right, let's get to this game right here. And this line
Oh,
keeps
with the
getting
Commander situation, I mean we start Debo, of course.
start Debo, McLaurin. I would start Bill. I would start Bill
You're starting
and
Bill. Are you picking one? I feel like if you have to, you start them. You start Bill Krosky Merritt,
yeah,
or do you
I
just
mean like
take the
if you
risk?
have to. Like if you have to, like if you have a weaker RB2, I feel like people usually have weaker RB2s or somebody got hurt because running backs usually get hurt real often. So I feel like I would put
Hmm.
them in there, but like a McNichols or oh my goodness, I just went blank. Oh, Chris Rodriguez. I don't know if I'd start them, but the only one I'm comfortable is with Bill. That's the only one I'm
Hmm.
comfortable with. And
I
Zach,
do like Zach Ertz too. So
yeah, I was about to say Zach Ertz. Yeah, Zach Ertz podcast right here. Big Zach Ertz fans right here.
big Zach Ertz guys.
But all right, next one right here. Next 12 o'clock game, the New Orleans Saints versus the Buffalo Bills. 3-0 versus 0-3. Buffalo's favored by 15.5 points. When I looked at this line this morning, it was at 12.5. So it keeps getting worse and worse. Over under is 47.5 points. You know what? How much are the Bills winning by? Let me just ask you this.
Let me just say about 24 plus. I'm taking
24
24
plus.
plus by the Buffalo Bills to win this game. They might even take Josh Allen out in the third quarter.
And they had extra rest too. I didn't even think about that. They played Thursday night. They had extra time to prepare for the Saints. I mean, you're better off not even preparing for the Saints right here. Because you know what? If you said 24, I say they barely cover the spread, 17. That's what I say. They cover the spread, but 17. But as far as starts here, you start James Cook, you start Josh Allen, and anybody
Kincaid.
else on
You
the
have to start
Bills
Dalton Kincaid.
after those
I
two
feel like after what
tutters
he did
last week.
last week, and he almost scored another tutter when he got stopped at
Yeah.
the 1 yard line. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I think you got to start Kincaid. Keon Coleman. The thing is, like, I don't know. Khalil Shakir still there, still involved pretty heavily. I think Khalil Shakir's a flex play. Keon Coleman, is a risky flex play, I feel like, for me, because he could
Yeah.
pop off at any moment, but he also could just deliver you 5 points like he's done the last 2 weeks. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I feel like just at your own risk with that one. But Khalil Shakir is a flex play. James Cook must start. Josh Allen must start. On the other side,
Just two
Alvin
guys
Kamara,
or three
Alvin
guys,
Kamara,
actually.
Jawan Johnson. I feel like you can start
He's
some guys for the
consistent.
Saints.
He's been consistent.
You can
Yeah.
start some guys for the Saints, but the Saints aren't gonna be close in this football game. But I feel like
Yeah.
Jawan Johnson, Alvin Kamara are must starts, especially Jawan Johnson. What he's been doing this first couple of weeks, he's the main
Hmm.
guy that they have in the receiving options. I mean, honestly, through 3 weeks, and
Uh-huh.
Chris Olave is a start as well.
He has the
He's
most
getting.
targets in the NFL right now. As of right now, most targets. I think
Mhm.
it's like 30, 34. Yeah, 34 targets. Yeah. So he's being force fed, but he's only getting 55 yards a game. I mean, but like you said, you have to chase those targets right there. So yeah, no, those are the only guys I'm starting. But let's get to this next game, which might be a blowout as well. The Cleveland Browns versus the Detroit Lions right here, 2-1 versus 1-2. Both coming off of victories, actually. Detroit's favored by 9.5. The over-under is 44.5 points. Who you taking?
Yeah, pretty crazy how the Cleveland Browns won. No, that was insane.
Yeah.
But the Detroit Lions, I feel like going toe to toe with the Baltimore Ravens, which is pretty insane. Ravens are 1-2, Chiefs are 1-2 to start the season.
That's
Never
gonna be
thought,
interesting, Josh.
never
That's gonna
thought
be
we'd be here.
interesting.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, as much as I love the Cleveland Browns, I'm a big believer that they're competitive. They're a competitive football team. The Detroit Lions right now, ever since that week one just collapsed a little bit, that where they weren't
Mhm.
that high powered offense, they've really showed up and showed out in every facet of football. Defense, stopping the run, secondary, offense is always what the offense is, so I feel like I'm gonna stick with them. Everyone's getting involved right now, so
Yeah.
okay, I gotta keep rolling with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, no, I'm rolling with the Lions here too. And I think whatever when Brecken and I were talking about the Lions, I think in week one, the biggest thing is that they try to make Jahmyr Gibbs give that 70-30 split. But this offense is much better when it's Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs at a 50-50 split. Cause
Well, we talked about that too in week
yeah.
2, so, like, me and you were saying that,
Hmm.
yeah, like, they went back to what they're good at, and
Hmm.
that's getting both of them involved because they both play a major role. Like, and,
Hmm.
it's they complement each other very well, and it's not to the detriment of one or the other. Both know their roles, and they just play for the betterment of the team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And I just think that also another thing before I forget, I was down 28 points and I had David Montgomery in the league. And I was like, all right, well, it's wraps. I'm like, no way, Monty, he gets like anywhere near 20 points. And then after that I think it was a 72-yard run that he had. After that, I actually had a chance. And then I won by I think it was like point 30. So just shout out to David Montgomery once again for winning me. I would have been 0-3 in that one, but I'll say this about this game right here. Maybe the Lions aren't going to score as many points because the Browns defense is that good. It's
They
kind of
are a good
overlooked
defense.
at this point. But I think it's going to be a blowout just because I don't think the Browns offense will be able to generate. So maybe like 20, I could see like a 24-10 ball game, something
Mm.
like this right here. But as far as starts, we already know the Lions, they start, you pretty much start everybody on that side. But the Cleveland Browns, Quinshawn Judkins, how do you feel about him after a good game last week against the Packers
I
defense?
feel like no, not just one game. I feel like it's 2 games in a row. He's had a really
Yeah.
good productive play in the last 2 games. I believe in the first game he had 10 carries for 60 yards. And then in this one he kept up the pace and scored another touchdown. Yeah, I
Mhm.
really do believe in Quinshawn Judkins, especially after what we've seen. I feel like his role is only going to increase. He's definitely phased out Dylan Sampson pretty much
Mhm.
entirely.
Yeah.
Thank you for whoever traded me DeAndre Swift straight up for Dylan Sampson. But um Jerome Ford's also, I think, eventually going to get phased out as well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, I feel like you got to keep rolling with it. It's going to be ugly maybe this week, but you could also have the possibility he gets that goal line touch and scores a touchdown. I feel like he's just modern day Nick Chubb. If we're being completely honest, like he's
Mhm.
modern
Yeah.
day Nick Chubb. And he's just that that high floor guy I think that you have on your team now, and that's Quinshawn Judkins.
And as far as any wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, there's Arnold Fannin, or is there any guys like you're like, oh, I need to start this guy for sure?
Not need to start, but definitely you put them in your flex and you're okay about it. I feel like Cedric Tillman and Jerry Judy, you'll get some good production from them. Maybe like a good 12 points, 11
Hmm.
points. But as far as Harold Fannin, I feel like I'm still gonna go back to the well with Harold Fannin if you need to, if you don't have a
Yeah,
better starting tight end. I think Harold Fannin's production in the first couple of weeks is going pretty
it's
good. And
solid. Hmm.
I think it's good for a rookie tight end, especially just a tight end in general. So we'll continue to roll out with Harold Fannin if you need to.
Yeah, I have Arnold Fannin in 2 leagues starting because, of
Yeah, I
course,
have him
I
in a
had Kittle
couple
in both
leagues.
league. Kittle in both of those leagues, they just went out. But we're still rolling. Arnold Fannin fan club right here. This is a tight end podcast right here. Speaking of a tight end that went off last week, Carolina Panthers versus New England Patriots. Hunter Henry had 2 touchdowns in that game and lost. Both teams are 1-2. New England's favored by 5.5. Over unders 42.5 points. Who you taking?
I'm gonna stick with the New England Patriots in this one. I know the Carolina Panthers had a big week last week. I just don't look for it to continue. Um, I
Hmm.
believe that the New England Patriots, Christian Gonzalez, is he gonna be in this game? I
Yeah,
believe Christian Gonzalez is playing. So Ted McMillan's gonna have a really hard matchup, especially on the outside. Um, Patriots still have a stingy defense. It's just the offense that struggles at times. On lock, Travion Henderson. Just let him play
please.
ball. Let Travion Henderson play some ball, please. Ramondre Stevenson, we already know the experiment, the fumbles. It's just insane amount of fumbles. There's no point in having him playing. But other than that, I feel like Drake May's serviceable. I just think honestly, if Drake May had competent receiving help,
Yeah,
he would be a really good top guy. Like I'm not saying that he would be a top fantasy guy, but top guy in the league, I think he would be very productive. But he's
yeah.
throwing to a bunch of if the NFL had a
He's throwing the
XFL
booty.
players, he's throwing to
He's
yeah,
literally
he's
throwing
throwing
the
to kid.
booty.
He's throwing the booty. That's what he's doing. But yeah, so I'm still sticking with the New England Patriots in this one. It's going to be one of those ugly games that you might not watch as an NFL
Yeah,
fan. I'm just being completely honest, but
it's
I think the
true.
New England Patriots will walk away with this one.
Yeah, no, give me the Patriots in this one right here. And I'm hoping Travion Henderson, he has that breakout game because Ramondre, it was 2 bad fumbles. Even Antonio Gibson's fumble, that was terrible. And you had, I don't remember exactly how many carries. I think it was 680 plus carries in college and no fumble at all. So it's like you have a guy on the bench who you drafted damn near in the first round. He was like the 34th pick, and he's not getting no burn. So I hope this is a Travion Henderson game right here. But as far as the other side with fantasy football, Tet, as far as him being a wide receiver one in fantasy, all of it's coming true with all the targets and how Bryce Young is just throwing the ball to him no matter what. This is looking very positive for him right here. So, just a projection wise, where do you think Tet finishes as a fantasy football receiver this year?
Definitely top 25. I feel like for
Okay.
sure a top 25 receiver. I still think there's a lot of guys that got to get going. I feel like there's a lot of guys that are going to start picking it up towards the back half of the season, especially right now.
Hmm.
Immediately, there's a couple guys like Brian Thomas Jr. and stuff along people along those natures. I just feel like it's been a little bit rough for some receivers to open up the season, like Malik Neighbors as well. So I just feel
Hmm.
like it's just all matchup based for a lot of these guys. Lad McConkey too. He struggled a little
Yeah.
bit. Just dude, that's not necessarily what he's doing. It's what Keenan Allen's doing, which we'll get into in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah. So for Tet, he's a solid guy, great rookie receiver, top 20 maybe. So
Yeah.
I feel like he's a solid play every single week, no matter what. And then as far as another guy on the Panthers, Chuba Hubbard, I feel like Chuba Hubbard's also a play as well. Just the volume. You got to keep going with the volume for Chuba Hubbard, even though it's not very productive, but the volume is where you need to go.
No. But I like whenever you transition perfectly into hold on, wait, Nate, give me a second. Give me a second. I'll talk to you in a little bit. No, but speaking sorry, I got thrown off from my brother saying hi to me. But I like it whenever you transition into another perfect topic, what you were talking about, Lad McConkey. So let's go ahead and get into the Chargers and the New York Giants right here. Chargers are favored by 6.5 right here. Over under is 44.5. But the major thing from this game right here is that Jackson Dart is making his first start in this game. So how do you think
Dude,
that's
he
going to
has a
go,
rough
Josh?
first 5 games of his
For
career.
real.
Dude, let's look at the schedule real quick for the Giants, bro. He's opening
Yeah,
up
it's
with a
brutal.
gauntlet. New York Giants games. So this week he has the Chargers. Okay. Next week he has the Saints. Easy. Then the Eagles. Then the Broncos. Then the Eagles again. Then the 49ers. So,
That is
yeah.
brutal.
So, yeah. He's not opening up with. And then after that, Bears, he gets a break. Then he plays the Packers. And then he plays the Lions. And then he plays the Patriots. So, yeah. He's going to learn real quick what it's like to play in the NFL. Jackson Dart is. But
That is going to be the oh man, you're not going to be able to really judge him in this. Just the Saints game, really, in all honesty.
yeah, that's kind of a ruthless to throw your premier quarterback for your future out there like that. But it's all right. I mean, he's gonna have to do it eventually. So, but for me, I'm sticking. I think it's gonna be a rough one for him playing a rough matchup. But hey, you never know what could happen either. He could just ultimately just be that guy, and it doesn't matter who's in front of him. So, he has
With this
weapons.
Giants team.
I mean,
I mean, O line.
I mean the O line, but the
They have
weapons that
Andrew
he has around him.
Thomas. Yeah. He has
Yeah,
weapons. Yeah.
yeah, Malik Neighbors, Wando Robinson. I mean, Cam Scattaboo. I mean, he's looking like the real deal right now. So,
Yeah, he is.
I feel like, yeah, the Chargers are gonna win this game after all that. But
Yeah.
the Chargers are gonna win this game. I just feel like they're clicking on all cylinders. Amarian Hampton got cut loose last week after Najee went down, and he had a really big one. Keenan Allen, dude, is looking like Keenan Allen. Let me tell you. Your dad told me, okay, when I made him that, he's like, Keenan Allen is just ass. Like, what are you
Yeah.
watching? What football are you watching right now where Keenan Allen looks like a bad player? Like, Keenan Allen looks like Keenan Allen. That's all.
Nowhere
It
near it.
may not be the same explosiveness, but dude's open every play.
Yeah.
Like, he's
And
just that guy.
even with Chicago last year, he was one of the most efficient receivers on the Bears offense where they were struggling. So him going to a Chargers offense, it's just easy and just
It was
overthought it
inevitable.
too much. Yeah. And I'm trying to find this exact tweet right here because how we mentioned Lad McConkey. I can't find the exact stats, but Lad McConkey is pretty much running the exact same routes and target share he has. He's just being less efficient by 10%, which I expect Lad McConkey to do better as the season goes on because Lad McConkey, just his build, he's going to be one of the most efficient receivers in the in the league for a long time coming. So I'm not worried about him, but like Hondo is mentioning right here in the chat, Quinton Johnston, it's a complete wide receiver revival. And he's now a guy where he's a boom or bust guy. Even at that, he hasn't been a bust the first 3 games. They've been all 3 big touchdowns. So, as crazy as this sounds, do you start all 3 wide receivers in fantasy football? It
I feel
sounds
like you.
crazy, but everyone has at least 12 plus points a game.
Okay, versus the New York Giants, yes, you start all 3 wide receivers. I feel like you have to versus the New York Giants, but I feel like it's not going to last. It's not going to last. I just don't see
Mhm.
it continuing to happen. And I do think Quentin Johnson will eventually be the odd man out. I just feel like a lot of his
Yeah.
production comes from big plays and touchdowns, which
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. But when it's consistently only that, it's bound to come back down to earth. Well, as far as you
Yeah.
look at Lad McConkey, who is the number one guy? Don't get that wrong.
Yeah.
Lad
He is.
McConkey is the number one receiver on this football team, so he is a must start every single week. He has only had 8 points the last 2 weeks, but that's because the other guy on the other side is Justin Herbert's most reliable option over the entirety of his NFL career, and that's Keenan Allen. Keenan
Yeah.
Allen was always going to be the guy that he looks to in important situations, and anyone that thought differently was lying to themselves because Keenan
Mhm.
Allen was always going to do this no matter what when he had Justin Herbert throwing him the football because they already have that connection. He knows where to look, when to look for Keenan Allen. So those 2 guys for me are the number one guys, and there's another guy emerging, tight end, and his name
Yeah.
Orday, whatever his name. I don't know how to say his name.
You expect me to know how to say his name?
You
Let
have
me.
him on your team. You have him on your
You
team after
you
I
have
want
him
him.
in the other league too. Don't I saw you pick him up. I saw you pick him up in the Knights. Let let's see if I could.
Orenday Gadsden the second.
Yeah,
Y'all heard the name
he's a
here
dog.
first.
Yeah,
Orenday Gadsden the second. He
this
wasn't
is a
on
tight
y'all's
end
radar,
podcast right here.
but
This is
he
a
is
tight end
on y'all's
podcast.
radar now. 7 targets last week. No other tight end is ahead of him right now because every other tight end
Mm-hmm.
is hurt. Y'all heard the name here first. Orenday Gadsden. I got nothing else to throw at y'all, but when he has another good week, just remember we said it here.
Remember, we called the Tucker Craft game going off. Remember,
Yeah.
we've
The
been pretty
Orenday
consistent
Gadsden
with
game
tight
is
ends.
going to happen this week, too. I mean, it happened last week, low
It
key,
is
9.6 points. But
against
this
the
week,
Broncos too.
against
Yeah.
the Broncos. And now he's playing the New York Giants. There's not another tight end ahead of him. And I believe that Justin Herbert's looking for his next Gerald Everett. I think he's found him in Orenday Gadsden.
Yeah, no, I think this guy, he just keeps emerging, and that's one thing that I just want to talk about in general. The rookies, I feel like this year, they're just emerging way more or sooner than I expected with the Cam Scatterboo, with the Marin Hampton. I know due to
Quinshawn
some
Judkins.
injuries. Yeah, Quinshon Judkins. And
Um,
now or how do you say his name?
Amarian
Gaston.
Hampton. Orenday Gadsden.
Orenday Gaskin. Okay. I just feel like the rookies in fantasy football this year, they're popping a lot sooner than usually. It's usually like week 8, week 9 when they start popping. But from this point forward, as far as Cam Scatterboo and Amari Hampton, they're running back ones or running back twos. Cam Scatterboo, running back two, down dang near running back one. But Amari Hampton, all the hype that he got before the season in fantasy football, it's all gas now. Just what he got last week versus the Broncos. So if you could happen to trade for him, I don't think he's a buy low anymore, but the first 2 weeks he was, find any way to get him on your team now.
Who?
But Amari Hampton. I almost got
He
I
was
almost
never
got
a buy
Amari
low,
Hampton.
though.
In
You
those
think
first
he
2
was?
weeks,
Dude, I feel like I
it wasn't looking too
struggled to
hot.
get Amari. I mean, I have him in most of the leagues that I do have, but
Yeah.
he in other leagues I didn't, where I was trying, it was pretty hard. It was pretty tough.
Yeah. I don't know
But
what
also, they expect me to trade Devon Achen and Josh Allen both in a package deal for crumbs, so it also makes no sense to me either. But they say I'm
Yeah.
fleecing. You want to hear a trade that went down in that league? And they say I'm
Let
fleecing.
me
You
hear
saw
it.
the trades I sent. You saw
Yeah.
the trades I sent.
You're
One guy
getting
got
fleeced in
Kyron
those.
Williams and
Okay.
Cortland Sutton, and
Okay.
he gave away DK Metcalf and Jake Ferguson.
What? This is coming from a Cowboys fan.
And they
Jake
say
Ferguson.
it was for their needs. It was for their needs. Their needs match. I'm like, you
Meanwhile,
don't
you're
need
giving
tight end
up.
that bad. You don't need tight end that bad, bro. Like, you gave up a number one receiver and a number one running back for a mid-ass freaking DK Metcalf and Jake Ferguson, who's
not a
good,
top 5
but
tight
not
end.
that good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not even a top 5 tight end in fantasy.
But I'm
Wow.
fleecing. But I'm fleecing.
But you can't trade away Josh Allen, Devon Achen. That's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane.
I can't trade away Devon Achen for freaking Ashton Genty, and who else was the other guy that I was trying to trade for? Like,
it was BTJ.
oh, Cam Scatterboo. It was Cam Scatterboo and Ashton
Cam
Genty
Scatterboo?
straight up for Devon Achen. I can't trade that, but they can trade that. It makes no sense to me.
Who knows? I don't know. I feel like trading in fantasy football is a lot harder because everybody views things like trade value so much different, or where they drafted them. I feel like where people drafted somebody, they go based off of that rather than their actual production on the season. So I don't know. It's all confusing, but let's get to this game right here. I think this
the
is
must starts on the Giants side. Is Cam Scatterboo is a must start.
He's a must start. Malik Neighbors. Wan'Dale's a flex.
Wan'Dale's a flex. Jackson Dart will wait. We'll wait.
I am not starting Jackson Dart just next week versus
I know
the Saints.
someone will. Someone will. Just wait.
You
Just wait
you
a
are
little bit.
whoever's listening to this, you're a madman. I'm looking directly in the
All right,
camera. You're a
I'm starting
madman
him
if you
against your
start
dad. You're
Jackson
right in
Dart.
Dynasty because I'm a madman. I'm starting him in Dynasty,
Start him.
actually.
Start him.
Mm.
Start him. Because start him over Jay Herbo. I know you have Herbo. Start him over Jay Herbo. But
Heck no.
all right. This is the only matchup where it's a battle of the undefeateds right here. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Bake Show. Both 3-0 right here. Buccaneers, 3 straight game winners with Baker Mayfield and a blocked field goal last week from Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter to win versus the Rams. Who's winning this one? I know who we're going to pick in this one, but who's winning?
You think we're going any other way with this? We're going with the Bake Show, the Heisman himself. Bro, I don't care who's in front of him besides the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going with the Bake Show every single time. And they're going to go to 5-0 on the season versus the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what the Bake Show won't do? He won't give up a freaking 20 plus point lead. All right?
Yeah.
The Bake Show won't do that. The Bake Show will die out there on the field before he gives up a 20 plus point lead. So, yeah, it's not happening this week. And you know who's also going to get on lock this week? Even more, Emeka Egbuka. Let me tell you that. The Bake Show is going to go crazy. Bucky Irving's going to run rapid on the boys. The Eagles, they're going to play good in this football game. But the Bake Show is just going to do Bake Show things and ultimately to clear the win in a last opportunity drive to seal the game. The Bake Show is going to end the game on his own terms. And I'm not starting Chris Godwin this week.
No, I definitely wouldn't start Chris Godwin, but I can't go against the Heisman himself, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who has 3 straight game-winning drives right here, and versus pretty good defenses with the Texans and then with the Jets. I know maybe people they're not as high on the Jets, but the Jets defense still is pretty solid. And I know Mike Evans, he's going to be out. I think it's a couple weeks, but there still is Emeka Egbuka. And Chris Godwin's coming back, which I think he's going to be more of a decoy. There's Kate Otten there. There's Bucky Irvin, Rashad White. I think they're going to go more with the run game right here. But as far as slinging the pigskin across the field, would I rather have Jalen Hurts or would I rather have the Heisman, the glorious Heisman himself? Give me the Heisman any day of the week. But I think this is going to be a really good game right here. I think the Eagles unlocked something last week where they finally realized, hey, we have A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith on the outside. Maybe we should start throwing the ball to them. And they actually did that. And I think a trend's going to continue where A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith are going to get more touches. And surprisingly, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game right here. I think this game's going to be in the high 20s, almost in the high 30s right here. But as far as anybody to start in fantasy football, I'm starting everybody.
Baker, Emeka Egbuka, Bucky Irving. You're starting Jalen Hurts. You're starting
White,
A.J. Brown.
Rashad White, I'm tempted now because they may go more run heavy now.
Mm-hmm.
As a running back,
maybe. Not versus the Eagles. I won't do it versus the Eagles. I will say, like for me personally, I'm not going to do it against the Eagles. But on the Eagles side, Hurts, Brown, Smith, Saquon, like
Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert gets that burn too.
Yeah, but forget it. Start that Ryan Miller dude that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have, and as their like fourth-string receiver.
Sterling Shepard. That might be a guy. That might be a flex guy, honestly.
In a deep league, he's a flex guy. I feel like he is getting like 5 to 6 targets a game.
Yeah, in a 14-man. I think I picked him up. No, I picked Sterling Shepard up in a different league. No, but yeah, no,
I picked Sterling Shepard up. No, I didn't pick him. I put him in a bet. I put him in an underdog bet. That's what I did.
You did for this week?
Yeah. No, not this week. But I've been putting him for like receptions, like 2.5 receptions.
That's just Baker's guy back to even college. But all right, let's go to this game. So this was the opposite, the battle of the undefeateds. Let's go to the battle of the losers right here. 2 0-3 teams in the AFC South. Tennessee Titans versus the Houston Texans. Texans are favored by 7.5 in this game, and this is by far the lowest over under of the week, 38.5 points. So who's winning this defensive slugfest here?
Yeah, the Tennessee Titans look absolutely atrocious. So I'm gonna continue going with the Houston Texans. This defense is gonna feast against Cam Ward and whoever's on the other side. Derek Stingley versus Alec Ayomaner or Calvin Ridley. Give me Derek
Mhm.
Stingley every single current. Kamari Lassiter versus Alec or Calvin Ridley. Give
Mhm.
me for the Houston Texans every single time. Yeah, and it's Woody Mark season after this week.
It's
I'm
Woody
I'm
Mark
putting it
season.
out there. It's Woody Mark
Yeah.
season after this week because I need
Yeah.
him. So it's Woody Mark season after this week.
Yeah, no, old man Nick Chubb. You could tell it's starting to get to him.
The
He
burn
needs
ain't
to,
there no more. The burn ain't there.
yeah. Yeah, there's
But
no
start
thread left on those tires right there. But start who?
we're starting Nico. We're starting yeah, Nico.
uh,
Nico
I,
Collins.
that's the only guy from this game. But also, I'll say this: one more week,
Tony Pollard,
and
you
I'm
start Tony Pollard. I mean, he continues to get
yeah,
18 touches a game, so
yeah. I say if there's one more week of this, I'm starting Eric Iomaner over Calvin Ridley. Like if I had to choose between the two, like how it's been
yeah,
going, how it's been
Alec.
trending, yeah, I for sure I would start him over or like him being the wide receiver one throughout the rest of the season on this Tennessee Titans offense because it seems like Cam Ward just trusts him more. But yeah, no, give me the Texans as well. And we still haven't disagreed with the game yet, and we're heading into the 3 o'clock games right here. I think this is a first right here. Indianapolis Colts versus the LA Rams. Undefeated Colts. Rams lost on a heartbreaker block field goal. Rams are favored by 3.5 at home. Over under is 50.5 points. So who's winning this game right here? Something before the season you didn't think you'd have to think about in this game. Now this
You know what?
close right
I'm
here.
still gonna stick with the Los Angeles Rams in this one. I think I'm gonna go with the Rams. I feel like you might go the Colts, so I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Rams. I trust in the boy Pooks. I trust in the boy Devontae Adams. I trust in that defense. They're a pretty good defense. Last week, I don't know what happened. They completely fell
Yeah.
apart versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones experience is still rolling. It's still rolling. It's
Yeah.
rolling pretty good. So,
Indiana Jones.
but I'm gonna stick with the Los Angeles Rams in this one. But Jonathan Taylor could still go absolutely nuclear like he's been going the last couple of weeks. So I think that's a
Yeah.
big reason why Daniel Jones is playing as well as he is. So, but for me, Los Angeles Rams is the move. I don't think they. I don't like. I don't. I think they're gonna regroup after last week. So I'm gonna go to Los
Yeah.
Angeles Rams.
If the Rams would have lost to the Eagles in a normal fashion, I would have been more poised to pick the Colts here, but based on how they lost last week and after a big disappointing comeback win that the Eagles had, give me the Rams here. And
Dang, we're
it's gonna
still the
be a
same.
it's gonna be a really good game. And also another thing, I'm like, okay, I'm down 2-1. I'm making smart picks here. I'm trying to be smart here. I'm going with who I'd actually pick in the pick'ems. So
I still
I
think
think
you're gonna lose, bro. I know who you're gonna pick this net in one of these games, and it's gonna be the only different one that we have. It's gonna be the only different one that we have, and you're gonna go against the grain.
you,
You're gonna go against the
you,
boy in this one. Well, actually,
you
no. You're gonna pick two different ones. You're gonna pick two different ones for me. I know which ones you're picking. Yeah, okay. Never mind. Yeah, so yeah.
I'm
All
not gonna
right.
get to that one yet, but
All right. All
I
right.
think
Move on to the next one.
all right,
Okay,
Jacksonville
well, we start
Jaguar,
Puka. You start Puka. You start Devontae. You start
Devontae,
Kyron. You start
Kyron,
Jonathan Taylor. You start Daniel Jones.
Tyler Warren.
Start Tyler Warren. Yeah.
Yep, bunch of starts. It's gonna be high scoring this one, but all right, next one. Let's kind of really brush past this one because I feel like this one's gonna be pretty simple. Jacksonville Jaguars versus San Francisco 49ers. Niners favored by 3.5. 47.5 is the over under in this one. In San Fran, I don't know if I mentioned that. So who's winning this one?
Yeah, I'm going with San Fran. I feel like CMC's cooking right now. Ricky Pearsall's cooking. Mac Jones is cooking. Um, this defense is really cooking ever
Yeah,
since Robert Saleh returned. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't get it. I feel like the receivers aren't there. The
BTJ,
quarterback's not
bro.
there. The run game is there, but everything's not following suit. The defense is all right, but it's not on the level, I think, to stop a Kyle Shanahan ran offense when they're clicking right now, like they are as of late. So, yeah, I'm just going to stick with the San Francisco 49ers right now, take the safe pick.
Yeah, give me the San Francisco 49ers here. And
Starting Ricky.
I'm just a little bit worried about the Jaguars may have a little bit more success on offense because Nick Bosa, how he tore his ACL, but we'll see how that is the rest of the season. But I think, of course, like you're saying, of course, you start CMC, you start Ricky. And as far as on the other side, okay, this might just be me. Travis Etienne and Bashal Tootin. I know Bashal Tootin has been touchdown dependent up to this point, but it wouldn't be too crazy to start both running backs. In my opinion, it wouldn't be too crazy to start both of them. And whether you like it or not, you have to start BTJ. I have him in a couple of leagues, so whoever's listening to this, I'm going through your same pain. You just have to trust BTJ finally turns it around. And let me ask you that. Does he finally turn it around this week?
I don't own him, so probably not.
Yeah, no, it's not the right week, but all right. Let's get, or you know what? I'm gonna save that last game. I'm gonna get this 3:00 game out of the way right here. Chicago Bears versus Oak. I always say Oakland. It never fails, Josh. I say it every week. Chicago Bears versus Las Vegas Raiders right here. This is in Vegas. Chicago's favored by 1.5. Over under is 47.5 points right here. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm going with the Chicago Bears in this one. I feel like after what they did offensively to the Dallas Cowboys, I think it's going to continue to happen versus Las Vegas Raiders, who's just as bad of a defense. I don't care what your dad says. The Cowboys defense is absolutely atrocious on all facets of football. And yeah, the Chicago Bears, I'm sticking with them, especially after what the boy Rome Odunze, my Roman Empire, is doing. Rome Odunze is going crazy. So we're going to continue going with Rome Odunze. Just like a hater of the pod, a hater on the pod, Brecken Thompson used to hate on Rome Odunze with his life. He didn't understand how good the boy was. And he's
slowly
good.
backtracking. He's slowly backtracking because I asked him on Monday too. He's like, okay, maybe he's a good wide receiver. I'm like, all right, he's slowly taking his steps back here, Josh. So
no,
we slowly got him.
He was probably, if he came into the draft this year, he would have been drafted above Ted McMillan. Like, there's no questions about it. Without like he could have been the number 2 overall pick. Honestly, if he number 2 or 3 number overall pick, if he came out this year above Travis Hunter. Like, I'm just being completely wholeheartedly honest with you. The only thing that Travis Hunter has above him is that he's a two-way player, also plays defense.
But better,
so that's
for sure, better wide receiver.
But for sure, wide receiver, bro, you could have argued he was better than Marvin Harrison. Like, so
and
that's
Malik,
what I'm
he was argued better than Malik too. Yeah.
So Rome Odunze, we're sticking to the well with Rome Odunze, and here's a changing of the guard that could possibly be happening. Is DJ Moore on his way out? Because Luther Burden had 10 targets in this last one, and DJ Moore rushed the ball, I believe, more times than he got targeted. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he did.
I'm just saying DJ Moore may be a Kansas City Chief by week 9. So, but
I think you're hoping for that.
Wright, or Jalen Wright may be a Kansas City Chief by week 9, which seems a lot more realistic. So, but yeah, I'm stick with the Chicago Bears in this one.
Yeah, no, give me the Bears in this one for sure. I think the Raiders defense, it's not as bad as the Cowboys, but it's it's definitely a bottom 5 unit in the league. So I think Caleb Williams is gonna continue eating in this one. And you start every Bears guy that you normally start. You start Caleb, you start DeAndre Swift. We already talked about Rome. You have to start DJ Moore. And I would say this. I think Rome is the number 1 wide receiver. And I think just based on last week, I'm going to pump the brakes. I'm not going to say DJ Moore, oh, it's time to panic on him. I say after this week, let's see how he does against a bad defense. I think Rome's a for sure number 1, but I think DJ Moore, we just have to wait and see what his wide receiver 2 production is going to be. But as far as the Raiders, Brock Bowers, I feel like he's still coming back from his injury. He's about
to start eating recovering,
again,
especially versus the Bears. Versus the Bears, I think this is the game where he goes
Yeah, you
crazy.
saw what
Like I
Jake
think this is
Ferguson did. Yeah.
yeah, this is
And
gonna be a Brock Bowers game.
Ashton Genty, he has more yards after contact than he has rushing yards on the season. So does he finally have a good game? Remember, this Bears defense isn't too hot. Because, okay, I know the
They're
Cowboys only
not,
had
but
14.
that
They were
Las
driving the
Vegas
ball on them.
Raiders offensive line
It's much worse.
is much worse than the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. So, yeah, no, I just don't. Okay, I was having this thought that the
Okay.
Raiders get comfortable. Like, did they get like, all right, we can just draft a premier guy, Ashton Genty, secure a running back position, when you definitely had clear needs elsewhere? Like, you could have let Ashton Genty go to a team. I mean,
Like
obviously, you don't want to
Chicago.
let him go to another team. Like, yeah, literally, like Chicago. Like, you could have let him
Hmm.
go to Chicago,
Hmm.
and he would have been in a better situation, because I feel like for the Raiders, they thought, oh, we got the shiny new toy that we can throw out there, and he's gonna be box office without
Hmm.
putting the actual main protection in front of him. You know, so
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Like,
I don't know what they were thinking.
I'd prefer the Boise State offensive line than this Raiders line that's currently constructed right now. And also, he's not getting the touches that he needs to really eat. Use as far as like legendary running back seasons, Saquon Barkley got force fed, Zeke got force fed, Leonard Fournette got force fed, Alvin Kamara did, and Ashton Genty, he has the
But
same
the
talent
difference
as those
is
guys.
all those guys had good offensive lines. Like,
Yeah,
every single person you just named had a good offensive line.
yeah. Oh no, not Saquon. Saquon did not have a good
Yeah, but you
offensive
got to think
line.
about who you're talking about. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
But
okay, yeah.
as far
You
Alvin
proved a
Kamara had
point
a good
there.
offensive line, he literally had his number one like lineman drafted in the same draft class as
Yeah.
him
Mhm.
and Ryan Ramczyk. And then you got, I mean, do we even
Leonard
got to talk about
Fournette.
the offensive
Yeah.
line that Zeke had? And Leonard Fournette, offensive
He had a
line
good line.
wasn't the best, but he was during that time when they were like clicking with Blake Bortles. So
That's when they made the
also,
championship game, right? Yeah, that's when they made the
yeah.
championship game. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, so I don't know. I just hope, just for dynasty sakes, I hope this turns around right here. And you know what? Legacy game for Ashton Genty this week. Do I believe it? No, but I'm going to speak it into existence. But all right, Josh, let's get to this main game right here. The battle of the 1 and 2 right here. This is in Kansas City, by the way. Baltimore's favored by 2.5. 48.5 is the over under of the week, one of the higher ones of the week. Somebody's going to fall to 1 and 3. Who's it going to be?
It's going to be the Baltimore Ravens, who are going to fall to 1 and 3. And I'm not going to tell you some extravagant reason why we're going to win. We're just going to win the damn football game. I don't care by how much. It could be 1 point. It could be half a point. It could be 10 points. It could be 2 points. It could be 3 points. I don't care how many points we win by. As long as we walk away from that football game victorious, because we will, that's all that matters. I don't care how it looks. I don't care if Patrick Mahomes throws 4 interceptions. As long as we win the football game, that's all that matters to me. And the Kansas Chiefs are going to get the job done. I don't know how. I don't know which way they're going to do it, but they're going to win the football game. And the Baltimore Ravens are going to drop to 1 and 3.
Okay. First,
Patrick
I'm
Mahomes is going to do some Patrick Mahomes stuff. Patrick Mahomes is going to do some Patrick Mahomes stuff in this game. That's all I'm giving you.
So first thing I'm gonna say, I think both of these coaches are gonna be really aggressive in this ball game because they know what's gonna be at stake, especially in the AFC. You can't afford to have any extra losses underneath your belt. Obviously, two great quarterbacks right here. And I'll say this: if the Chiefs didn't have Xavier Worthy in this game, then I'd be a little bit more concerned as far as with the Chiefs offense because they're
Not
gonna
me.
need to put up some points in this game. But with that being said, I'm still gonna take the Baltimore Ravens right here, and
That's
I
fine.
knew
This is
I
where
knew.
you lose the week. This is where you lose the week. It's
Well,
all
literally,
right.
we have
This is where
one.
you lose the week.
We
You
have
think I'm
one.
picking what you're picking next? You think I'm picking what you're picking in the next game? No, I am not.
We'll get to that one in a second. We'll get to that one in a second, right here. But I just think this Ravens offense. I think the Chiefs defense is going to slow them down, but slowing down the
No,
Ravens
Chiefs defense
offense.
is back to normal. I think they're back to being what they were. I feel like that first
Yeah,
week in that first half, they really struggled. And then ever since that second half and the game's continuing to now. But low key, the Chiefs are a top 10 offense. I'm just saying, like they are literally statistically a top 10
offense.
offense. They are. They legit are.
There's a difference between
Statistically, they are a
statistically and
top 10
looking like
offense.
it.
I don't care what
Statistically
they
and
look
looking
like. As
like
long as they
it.
win the football game, that's the difference between champions and not champions. We don't care what it looks like as long as the job gets done.
I feel like I'm listening to Jalen Hurts speak right now.
We'll come talk back in week 7 when Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are back and this offense is the best in the league. With Tyquan Thornton taking the top off. That's all I'm saying.
I think they'll be good whenever those two are back.
Right now, it don't
whenever
matter
those two are back.
Tyquan Thornton's going to go
Y'all aren't going to win this week.
122 yards and a touchdown in this game. That's all I'm telling you.
I'm going to say this. This is the simplest way I'm going to put it. The Ravens offense is going to get to 28, at least 28 points.
Way I'm going to put it, Lamar Jackson is 1-5 versus the Kansas City Chiefs in his entire football career. And the one game they lost, Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled within our own field goal range to cost us the football game, and the Baltimore Ravens kneeled it out. So that's the reason why Lamar Jackson has one win versus the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and he's about to drop to 1-6 after this week. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Like you're saying, all the stats may say something, but it's a different when it gets onto that field right there. And I think Lamar and the Ravens are going to score at least 28 points. Can the Chiefs offense do that?
No, they're not. They're scoring
That's my biggest concern.
That the Ravens are going to score 17 points. 17
in the first half?
In this game?
In the first half?
In the entirety of the football game. And when we come back next week, the Ravens are going to be 1-3, and the Chiefs are going to be 2-2, looking nice, getting ready for week 7 to come around.
Just skip week 5, skip week 6, just
we're
week 7.
The Detroit Lions as well also. I don't care who we're playing, so we're going to beat them also.
Ooh, well, I already know who I'm picking next week. I know a disagreement we have for next week then. but no, give me the Ravens, but this is going to be a really good game right here. I see this being a 24-28 ball game right here.
Because Mahomes is not going 0-3 versus Jared Goff in his career. We're not doing that no more.
Hey, Jared Goff is y'all's kryptonite. He's y'all's kryptonite. I'm just saying. That's what he is. But that's next week's game. But this week, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting this week.
Start Tyquan Thornton. Start Juju Smith-Schuster. Start Tyrese Kelce. Start Noah Gray. Start freaking Rob Tunyon. I don't care, bro. Start him. Start Isaiah Pacheco. Start Kareem Hunt.
Whoa, that's where you cross the line. That's where you cross the line. Starting Isaiah Pacheco. Whoa.
If you could start Matt Caliendo at running back, do it. Like it's gonna just.
Hey, he had a 12-yard rush. Wait, no, I'm thinking of Remigio. What's his name? Yeah. He had a 12-yard run, but
you start Nico Remigio too, because he's going to return one punt and one kick for a touchdown in this game. So yeah, start Nico Remigio too, because he's going to give you a solid 12 just off touchdowns.
And I'll say this, just as far as just with the Chiefs, I'm not worried about Pat Mahomes, but I feel like even when the Chiefs offense wasn't producing, they weren't making these mental mistakes and like these little errors to keep teams in the ball game, even when they didn't have their offense clicking. And I feel like there's been subtle signs, and against New York, they kept extending the drives. And this is a way better offense compared to the Giants and Ravens right here. So that's just where the difference is this year. They're not as buttoned up. So Ravens are winning this one.
McGee. You think fumbling McGee on the other side, fumbling the game away is worrying us right now? No, bro. He's probably going to fumble the game away again.
Hey, if it's a close game, then you're on to something.
Derrick Henry only fumbles game at the end and Derrick Henry has the ball, y'all better watch out because he's not keeping that football.
No, you're right, but all right.
And he's gonna miss the bench when he sits down again this week too, because
no, that was funny.
They're gonna get absolutely whooped. He's gonna look like he's crying on the sideline.
That was funny right there where he missed the bench. But It's time. We talked about your team. It's time to talk about my team right here. And for the people who have the cameras, they're seeing now a Micah Parsons jersey is right behind me. It's the return of Micah Parsons Sunday Night Football. Green Bay is favored by 6.5. Over unders 47.5 points. With CeeDee Lamb being out, with Tyler Booker being out in this ball game right here. Who's winning this game here, Josh?
Yeah, give me the Green Bay Packers in this one. Not enough. Yeah, I'm cool off of it. So yeah, just give me the Green Bay Packers. Now you give me why the Cowboys are gonna win.
So there was some weaknesses shown from the Green Bay Packers last. Okay, first I'm gonna say this. I've said this since last year. There's
the
a double
crazy
agent.
part is, bro, you're gonna get both of these wrong. That's just all I'm saying. Like,
let me finish this first. Let me finish this first. I've said this since last year. There's a double agent on the Packers side, and he happens to wear number 10 and play the most important position for them, and that's Jordan Love. And we saw that last week with the Packers defense playing an amazing ball game. Amazing ball game. Jordan Love.
But the other defense on this side don't got Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett.
Hold on, wait. Let me finish. Let me finish. And yes, I know we don't have Tyler Booker. I know we don't have CeeDee Lamb, but that's why we got George Pickens in the offseason. We have an actual run game, a top 3 run game in the league. Deron Bland, he's coming back, who is our actually only reliable corner here. And Jadeveon Clowney playing. And the one guy I'm not worried about in this game is Dak Prescott, because Dak Prescott, without looking at stats, he's playing the best football or quarterbacking of his career. With that being said, give me the Green Bay Packers by a blowout. No way you expect me to pick the Cowboys here. No, I'm a realistic Cowboys fan.
That's going to be insane, bro.
If the Cowboys...
Because when you get the Ravens and Chiefs wrong, I mean, I win again. So,
like, Josh, like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I try to come up with like every single reason. I'm like, how are the Cowboys gonna win this ball game? Like, okay, run the ball, time of possession.
That's why I don't give a reason. I just have Patrick Mahomes on my side, and that's it. That's all I need.
Yeah, but you have a defense. There's the thing about it. You have a defense. It's just Dak and
all I need is Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if the freaking remember the Titans defense was on the other side, or
hey, that's one of the best defenses. One of the best defenses.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care if it was Florida State in the when they missed the college football championship.
Hey, versus, whoa! We have one of the best defenses.
When all their players set out that one game, and yeah, I don't care if that defense was on all the other side. As long as I got Patrick Mahomes, we're straight.
No, you guys have for the last 3 years, you guys had a top 5 unit by far alongside Patrick Mahomes. Dak Prescott has a bottom 35 unit.
We've had the best historical defense in the last 5 seasons. I don't care.
There you go. There
says.
You go. There you go.
We're not saying top 5. No. Pull me up another team that held played the least amount of points in the last 4 seasons in a 4-year stretch. Can't find me a single one. That's all I'm saying.
And that's why Patrick Mahomes has been successful.
All the yards in the world. We could give up all of this in the world. I don't care. Give up all the receiving yards in the world. But as long as they're not putting points up on the scoreboard, I could care less about it.
Exactly. And that's the main thing why Patrick Mahomes, he still is clutch, but is able to win these ball games because they keep him in the ball game. And I'm going to say this, coming from a Cowboys fan, start every single Packers guy you have on your team. Tucker Kraft, start. Romeo Dobbs, start. Matt Golden, start. Josh Jacobs, start. Malik Heath, start. Bo Melton, you start him.
Emmanuel Wilson.
You start everybody. You start everybody in this ball game because
legit do not start every Packers receiver. Don't, because you're gonna be disappointed. Just start Tucker Kraft. How about that? Just start Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs. That's it.
You're not starting Matt Golden had a good week last week.
I don't care what he had.
Do you know how bad this Cowboys defense is?
This week it's gonna be freaking Romeo Dobbs, bro. Like no, like it's gonna be Dontavian Wicks. Like I'm not starting Matthew Golden until I see it 2 weeks in a row. But then even after that, I still wouldn't trust it.
It's gonna happen this week. I know it's gonna happen this week. And as far
No,
as on the
Jaden Reed's
Cowboys
gonna
start,
get healed up somehow in 2 weeks, and he's gonna come back, and he's gonna
he's gonna happen to
go
come
back to the
back
same
after a
old stuff.
broken collarbone. No, but as far as guys you start on the Cowboys, you start George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, and you start Javonte Williams. You start those guys because those guys they're gonna get their touches. And Dak, well, in higher scoring quarterback leagues, you start Dak because he's gonna throw the ball. But like normal scoring, don't start Dak. I'm just saying that right now. I'm just saying that because he's gonna get the yards, but I don't think he's gonna get the touchdowns in this game. And I think final score, realistically, I'm thinking like this is like a 34. This is like a 34-17 ball game, honestly. But if the Cowboys win right here, I'm still gonna be gloated, and the it's gonna be so funny. I don't know if you saw it. We're not doing a tribute for Micah Parsons, so I don't know. I don't know if that might be a mental edge, or maybe Micah just goes crazy and breaks the all-time sack record against this defense or this offensive line. But hey, who knows? Who knows? I'm praying the Cowboys win, but it's not gonna happen, Josh. It's not. It's not gonna happen. But Monday Night Football right here. Two Monday Night Football games. And all right, New York Jets versus Miami Dolphins, both 0-3 right here. Miami's favored by 2.5. Spread is 45.5 points right here. Who you taking?
Shoot, bro, what the?
Yeah, two 0-3 teams.
Give me the Miami Dolphins. I'm gonna go with the Miami
Okay.
Dolphins in this game. I just feel like I like what they did against Buffalo. I feel like they controlled the line of scrimmage as much as they could. Tua was making some good decisions. I mean, his arm is chopped, like absolutely terrible. But I mean, like he was making good decisions. I mean, Tyreek is starting to come
Yeah.
back into his own. He usually does pretty good against the Jets, to be honest. Like he never
Yeah.
really gets shut down. Yeah, so I'm gonna stick with the Miami Dolphins just because I like the run game right now. I understand the offensive
Yeah.
line sucks, but having Devon Achane and now Ollie Gordon, I feel like Ollie Gordon's adding an extra element that they needed badly ever since they had Raheem Mostert. So yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with the Miami Dolphins in this one.
Yeah, no, give me the Dolphins for the exact same reasons. I know Justin Fields, he's coming back in this game, but I think if I had to trust one defense or one offense a little bit more, I'd have to trust the Miami Dolphins offense. Because Justin Fields, I don't know if that week one was a fluke or not, because obviously he didn't play last week. So it's more wait and see. Give me the Dolphins. They have way more skill position talent on their side. And starting, I feel like you start every single offensive guy. I feel like points are going to be put up in this game. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I feel like you got to start Garrett Wilson. He's had 2 out of 3 good
Yeah.
weeks, so he's really
Yeah.
balling right now. I feel like you got to start Brees Hall. You got to start Tyreek. You got to start Devon Achane always. I mean, that one's not even a question mark. So yeah,
Hmm.
and then I mean in a deeper league, maybe Ollie Gordon if he falls into the end zone, but I wouldn't trust that. But as far
Yeah.
as others,
Hmm.
just Tyreek, Devon Achane, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall.
What
Like
about
those are the
Jalen
guys you start.
Waddle? That's two back-to-back tutters.
Heck no, I'm not
Okay.
starting Jalen Waddle.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. It's back-to-back touchdowns, but we'll see. But all right, this last game right here. The Denver Broncos versus the Cincinnati Bengals, 2-1 versus 1-2. Denver's favored by 7.5. 44.5 is the over-under in this ball game. And Jake Browning, of course, is starting once again. So who are you picking in this game?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you right here. There's not really no explanation right here. And as far as it just sucks to see that Jamar Chase, after what he did last year and now, he really doesn't have no quarterback in Jake Brown. I thought it was going to be a lot better, but maybe he's a low end wide receiver one in fantasy football the rest of the year. But it just sucks to see. In PS2, this is a bad matchup versus him right here. But let me ask you this: Broncos offense has been looking shaky. What's going to happen if they don't look good against the Bengals defense right here? What do you think this means the rest of the season?
I just think it means Sean Payne's an overrated head coach and Bo Nix sucks. So that's all I feel.
I'm worried about Bo Nix. I'm worried. I'm worried because he hasn't been looking too good in this one, but that's gonna be interesting to see. And all right, Josh, So the only disagreement we have throughout the entire week is Baltimore and Kansas City right here.
That's all I
Oh,
need. That's all I needed.
only
That's
one.
all
It's
I needed
perfect.
right there. That's
It's
perfect for me
perfect.
because that's perfect for me. So after next week, when I'm up 3-1, it's just gonna be amazing. It's gonna be
Nah,
amazing in
nah.
the pickums.
It's not gonna happen. I'm sadly y'all are gonna go 1-3. That's the only type of 3-1 that you're gonna get. It's just gonna
No
be the
sir.
opposite. But
No sir.
let's go ahead and continue this trend. So the week before you had Jahmyr Gibbs having more points than Derrick Henry. We just picked who's gonna have the better fantasy football. And
Dude, I should
last
have
week I
stuck with
picked
Jordan
Rome,
Mason.
and you should have. Last week you picked CD, and then I picked Rome last week. So it's like 1-1. I know we're not keeping count on that one, but like just who project the better fantasy football. But who's gonna have the best fantasy football week? Any position you could pick, and I'll pick somebody else.
Quarterback, give me Patrick Mahomes.
What a shocker right there. All right. You pick Patrick Mahomes.
You take Josh Allen versus them freaking trash boys and watch what happens. Do it. Do it.
No,
You take the layup. Take the layup. Just do the layup, bro.
I'm not gonna take the layup. I'm gonna go for something a little bit more challenging here. Let's see.
Dak
I'm
Prescott
looking.
versus the Packers. Is that what you're gonna go for?
I was gonna say Dak Prescott too. You know what? Give me Dak Prescott. Give me Dak Prescott right here, having more fantasy points. Even you know what? If you guys happen to skip to this part right here where I said don't start Dak Prescott, you start him. Damn it, he's gonna have a damn good game. Are we gonna win? No, but Dak Prescott's gonna have a good fantasy football game right here. So Mahomes versus Dak fantasy football points, and this is standard right here. So basically, who scores more touchdowns right here? I hope Isaiah Pacheco gets a couple touchdowns right here. It's Isaiah Pacheco,
That'd be great
Brashard
by me if Isaiah
Smith.
Pacheco got a couple touchdowns. I would not be mad at all. Like,
Nah, but all right, Josh. Any last words before we get out of here?
No.
All right. Well, you guys will see us next week whenever we do our week 4 reactions on Monday night. So I just went completely blank. But before we end this, find us on Twitch, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under TSCSA or the so-called Sports Analyst. Whether you listen to this live or another day, we appreciate it. Make sure you share this to anybody that likes sports. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.